Hi, and welcome back to It's Never Too Late to Date. We are the channel about dating and relationships after the age of 60. And today we're going to be talking about relationships and don't give up too soon on them. We spend a lot of time cultivating, growing, and getting to know someone in a relationship, and then something happens that makes us feel bad and that we blame on the other person, and we want to end the relationship. And main reason that I wanted to talk about this today is I've been there many times in my relationship with David. We've been together 10 years now. And I constantly have to remind myself that we both came from different backgrounds, as far as not culturally, not racially, but just the things that we've been through in our lives. And you can't expect someone who's come from a totally different experience to come into your life and have the exact same views, exact same way of looking at things as you do. And so sometimes it takes some time to get to know each other, argue about things, maybe even fight about things, and then take some time to sit back and look at the reasons why the fight happened. What was the common thing that caused both of you to be upset with each other? And sometimes it can be something just as small as who's doing the work around the house. And a lot of times that's something that we don't take the time to sit down and talk about ahead of time and say, okay, so we're in this relationship, great. We decided to move in together, so we've got to figure out what the chores, who's going to do the chores, the list of who's going to do what. And a lot of times that doesn't get done. And so a lot of assumptions are made. And so when you let things be assumed, you're never right. It just never works out. So you have to take the time to sit down with your partner and talk about those little things, because they can be things that can drive a wedge into a relationship. And just remember that most of us, we've almost retired or retired already. We've built a home with somebody else before this person. We've played our traditional roles, if you can call them that, where the woman has kept up the house and the man has been gone all day long working. And they've had that experience before. And we come into a new relationship after all of that has happened and both of us are home. And so you would think that automatically everybody's thinking, well, everything's going to be equal. And it's not unless you talk about it first. So be sure to cover that conversation, have that conversation if that's something that comes up in the relationship that you're in now. And if it's been one of those things that's a constant battle, then sometimes it's just sitting down and saying, hey, let's make a list. You do this, I'll do this. We take care of that on a weekly basis. And some people just work better with a list anyway. All right, emotional support. A lot of times, at least in situations that I've seen, if a man has grown up in a situation where he hasn't had a role model, or something has happened in his life where there's some trauma there and some trauma with his parents, or even for the woman, trauma with her parents. They're going to come into a relationship, and maybe that's the reason why they are divorced now, or whatever relationship they had before it didn't last, is because you don't know how to handle the other person's emotions. And we have to remember that we are the only ones who can make ourselves happy. You can't rely on your partner or your spouse to make you happy or to help you be happy. And, we see all the romantic movies and we see, all the sayings that are out there, you complete me, or you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, or you read me, you're my soulmate. Well, even people who say they have soulmates, they don't see eye to eye on everything. And you're there every once in a while you'll meet someone, a couple who seems to have that all together, but most people don't. And so you have to have that, get to know each other, get to know the backgrounds, and if there's some things that are bothering you about how your mate or your partner handles things, sometimes there's some different things that are happening, whether they're on the spectrum, and there's a lot to that. We're not going to go into too much detail, but everybody deals with emotions differently. And there are some guys who, when a woman cries or gets upset, they're wanting to fix it, and they'll, do all the right things. And then there's other guys, they don't know what to do. And even though they've been through marriages before, nobody's ever taken the time to figure out that, okay, this person does not handle emotions well, and they don't know how to react to things when things get too emotional. And so you kind of have to adjust to each other. If you love the person, then you'll do the things that need to be done to help them work through some things. And I've noticed that in my relationship. I've noticed that in other people's relationships. And that is, if you can just focus on the fact that if somebody is reacting to you in a certain way, in most cases, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's all about them and how they may handle emotional things in their life. And just keep that mantra out there, as I am the only one who can make myself happy. And if you can be happy that way, you can live with and enjoy the partnership with somebody without expecting them to make you feel better or to adjust to you. You just both kind of can be who you are. You can be who you are and cohabitate together, and both people can be satisfied in that way. Another thing that has come up a bit in my relationship with David is we both have kids. I have 3 girls, he has 2 girls, and together we have 8, 8 grandkids. And things come up with your kids during your relationship, and you're not going to ignore them and tell them to go work things out on their own. But I do feel that when you've got especially at this age, you're not building a household from when the kids are smaller. All of my kids are grown, his kids are grown, they've got their own kids, and so we're all in kind of separate places. And so when his kids are going through things, I let him handle it. If they come to me with questions and want my advice, then I will talk with them and share my advice. But I don't get into their stuff. And the same thing with my kids. If I'm dealing with something with my kids, or they want my help with something, David doesn't get involved in that. We try to keep all of that separate, and it makes it so much easier. He's got a history with his kids. I have a history with my kids, and we know how to handle each situation. Now, he'll sometimes talk to me about something he's dealing with one of his kids, and we'll talk about it. And usually we're on the same page, but sometimes we're not. But they're his kids, and he has to deal with it. And the same thing, if I'm dealing with something with one of my girls, then I'll talk with him about it, and we just discuss it, and kind of it helps to make our decision clear as to what we can do, if anything. And in most cases, your kids are going to work things out on their own, and they're just asking you for your advice. Now, I do know of situations where a couple has gotten together after the age of 60, and one of the kids is, just not doing well, and they've asked to move in with the new couple. And they've done it, and it's really made things difficult. I think that is one of the big ways that you can kind of put a wedge in your relationship, is if you allow that to happen. But sometimes there's seems to be no other alternative, and so we live in a world where kids get in trouble, people get in trouble, and they need our help, and maybe not have a place to stay. And as long as there's no drugs involved or alcohol involved, where they want you to come in, and they want to come in your house and continue to do what they're doing, then if that's the case, then no, I would never have that happen. But if they're just going through some things, whether they've lost a job, or something else has happened, then it just depends on the circumstance. But if you can avoid it, then avoid it. Having the adult kids moving in in your home. So I've covered 3 relationship challenges that can come up after the age of 60, when you've just started a new relationship later in life. And so hopefully you've gotten something out of that. Please leave comments, and any questions that you have, I'd love to see them in the comment section. And please be sure to like and subscribe. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.